Welcome to Black Perspectives with Lady T, where your thoughts will attract a strong mind or offend a weak one. Today we are touching on subjects in our community as well as the country that are affecting our African American youth. Today's topics include the Kaepernick movement, kneeling versus standing for the national anthem, race relations in school, and President Trump as seen through the eyes of our young people. Their opinions and ideas are thought-provoking and insightful, and you will open your eyes to the fact that our young people are paying attention. Well, welcome to Black Perspectives with Lady T. Thank you for coming on my show today. You all are my very special guests. Actually, you were hand-selected by some very good friends that I know because you all are the brightest of the bright. So let's start off by introductions. Let's start to the back row and work our way up front, starting in the very left. Give us your name, your age, and what grade you are in currently.
My name is John A. I'm 12 years old and I'm in 6th grade.
My name is Nyla. I am 16 years old and I'm in 11th grade.
My name is Jasmine. I'm 13 years old and I'm in 9th grade.
My name is John A. I'm in 6th grade and I'm 12 years old.
My name is Steven. I'm 14 years old and I am in 9th grade.
I'm Trinity. I'm 15 years old and I'm in 10th grade.
My name is Johnny. I'm 14 years old and I'm in 9th grade.
All right, fantastic. So we have ages from 12 to, who's the oldest again? Yeah, we have the oldest back there. And so if you all haven't noticed by now, our two sisters on the ends are twins. I'm sure you guys probably noticed that. We're going to touch on some very deep topics this afternoon, and I was just hoping that you guys are up to it. Yes, okay, good. And we picked you all because you all are pretty deep thinkers. In fact, Ajani, that you actually wrote a paper on equity over equality. So why don't you tell us what that paper was about?
That paper was basically about, like, people have the wrong understanding of equality. Because equality is when everybody gets the same thing, for example. Like at my school, like last year, only certain kids had laptops and stuff, but some didn't. But the teachers were making a standard that you had to get this certain stuff done. But how would certain kids get it done without a laptop? Equity is when you have the same stuff. Okay. But it's not fair.
Right. Okay. Wow. That's an important observation because when you are on the same playing field, okay, and then we all have the same resources and opportunities. That's awesome. And how did you come up with that topic?
From the help of Miss Sherry.
And that's Miss Sherry.
Miss Sherry Roland Washington.
Okay, and what is she to you?
She's my friend. No.
She's a mentor to you?
She's a mentor, yeah, she's a mentor.
That's awesome. I think that, and well, before I tell you what I think, what did the person that you submitted it to think? Was it for a grade or?
It was for a grade.
Okay, and is it a grade that we'll be proud to share?
I had to get the A.
You had?
I had to get the A.
Oh, you got the A? Woo! Just give it up for him for the A. All right. That's an ambitious topic, and kudos to you for conquering that and really laying it out there, especially getting an A on it. Nyla, raise your hand for the audience. All right. You were recently on a panel discussion. Tell us more about your panel discussion and what was the topic.
I was on a panel discussion with other teenagers, black teenagers that live in the York City area, and it was about the community problems that we've been having in York recently, like a lot of violence and kids getting involved with gangs and a lot of bad influences, and a lot of other things like that, and how we don't really have activities around York to keep us motivated, to keep us interested and out of the streets.
Oh, that's awesome. So we're talking about the city of York. I think that's a perfect segue to let's have a quick discussion, and we can go row by row. What are your thoughts about living in York? Is it, like Nala said, there's nothing to do, there's gang violence? Is that your opinion, Stephen?
It's my opinion, because parents have to be overprotective of their children because of all the violence that's going around and happening.
Okay. Can you describe for me what violence is going around for those that don't know?
Well, there's always some type of shooting happening in the cities, or like what people call in the hood. Mm-hmm. And there's always also fighting because of what Trump says as well. So. Okay, we're going to hold Trump as a place marker because he's going to be a topic coming up. So let's remember, who can forget that name, right? Trump. And so I want to ask Jasmine, when you hear about gang violence or shootings that occur, what goes through your mind? And tell me how you feel about that.
I don't think that's all that York is, but that's what York is perceived as, because that's all that you see in the media. And there's many good things that happen, but the news only shows the bad. And also, I think that gun violence it's gun violence. It's just when people are making careless mistakes and they're taking someone's life before they sit down and actually think about it.
Okay. Do you know anyone personally that has tragically died by gun violence? Okay. So you haven't had to experience having to go to school and all of a sudden that classmate that you once knew is now deceased. Has anyone had a close encounter or with anyone that you knew that passed away due to gun violence?
My cousin Kimi.
Okay, all right, and I'm sure that was very upsetting to you. When that occurs, is there anybody around that you can talk to? Who do you go to when you're maybe feeling a certain way, maybe down, or maybe you can tell us how you felt when that happened?
I felt a little bit like heartbroken, but at the same time I was in a certain type of feeling where I didn't know what to do about it, or how I could help this situation to find out who did it and stuff. Mm-hmm. So. Okay. Yeah.
Does anybody feel scared when they hear about another shooting in the city? Is that a yes?
Yeah.
Okay, I saw some heads nod. Okay. Some of you all live in the city, and just wondering, because you are city residents and perhaps that you go to a majority white school, would be predominantly white school, are there any biases that you've received because of that, or perhaps because you're African American?
I have.
Okay, go right ahead.
Well, one day I was walking in the halls and a teacher came up to me when I was talking to a student and told me to stop being a gangster.
Stop being a gangster?
Yeah.
A teacher told you this?
Yes.
Okay.
And this is a different skin color teacher, so.
Is she white?
It's a he, and
he
is a white male teacher. So,
okay.
My reaction to that was to just walk away because I didn't know what to say after him telling me something like that. Because in my mind of him saying something like that, I didn't know like what after to say something like that, like to just tell a colored student like that. I felt like it was rude and you should have never said anything like that. So did you
feel angry at all? Did it make you feel angry? Okay.
I'm sorry that you went through that. Is there anyone else that cares to share their experience of bias in their predominantly white school because of race or any other protected characteristics? Sure, go ahead, right ahead.
So it's not directly at me, but it's with my school. We have a lot of international students, predominantly Chinese.
Okay.
And so when they come over, they have host families who they're with throughout the whole week. And the only time they really get to be around other Chinese students is at lunch at school, since they're all scattered around different grades in high school. So they have kind of like in our lounge, they have a table that they all kind of stick to. And everybody else, all the rest of the students, they're completely fine with the table. We understand that they have to speak a second language that most of them had just learned a couple months before for 8 years out of the 12 months of the year.
Mm-hmm.
And so we understand that that's their time to kind of regroup and be with people who understand what they're going through. But on the other hand, some of the teachers, I guess, I don't know how they see that working out with, but we did have a teacher who had to leave because of comments she made to the Chinese students about our immersion Mandarin club. And then our dean of students last year kind of wants to break the table apart, kind of have the Chinese students sit with other kids, and that they don't own the table, that it belongs to the school and belongs to the rest of the students, and that they need to not stick together as much.
The time that they get to spend together, is it mostly during lunch?
Either during the morning, which is about maybe 20 minutes in the morning, and during lunch.
Okay, and besides before school and after school, that would be only time during the school period, school time, that they are able to congregate and have conversations and things like that would be during lunch period. But they are not given that opportunity, is what you're saying. They're told that they don't own the lunch table and they have to disperse.
It's not, well, yes, but I guess that plan never really went through because they're still allowed to do it, and that dean of students is not the dean of students anymore.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know if that's why she went to the board and talked about it, and they just said we can't do that and things like that, or I don't know. Okay,
all right. Is there anyone else that has experienced racial bias because of your skin tone, or even you guys are conferring who wants to speak next? Do you have an experience, either of you?
Yeah, so it's not happening right now because I don't know why, but last year, well, I had gotten into some incidents where, say, like, a teacher would try and get me in trouble, like, on purpose so that I could be out of their class. So say, like, we're working and stuff, right? And the teacher starts talking because we're about to learn something new. I would look over at something because someone was obviously messing around, and they would tell me to be quiet and stop talking.
Okay, and so are you saying that you would get blamed for what someone else is doing?
Yes, and also a while back there's this one day when a white male student brung in his own computer for a class that we were in. I asked the teacher if I was able to bring in my own computer. He said no. And then I asked him the question, am I not able to bring in my computer because of the color of my skin, or is it because of something that I did in the past?
And his answer?
He didn't answer me.
He didn't answer. Okay, but you felt what?
I felt like it wasn't equally fair to everybody.
Mm-hmm. That some get to bring, or at least one person it was that person, that the student that was able to bring their computer to class, white by any chance?
Yes.
Okay. And what about the student that was talking during the time that you just described? Was that student white or other than black?
Yeah, one was white, the other one was Chinese.
Okay. But neither were black. You're the only black one, that student that was accused of talking when you
Yes.
weren't. Okay. When you hear about incidences like that, you shared your experience. Stephen, you just shared your experience. Does that make you angry when you feel? How do you feel? I don't want to tell you how you feel. Do you want to share with us how that makes you feel?
Well, every time I feel like I'm not being treated equal to everybody else, it makes me feel like I've done something wrong as an individual, and I'm trying to figure a way to make sure that I don't do the same mistake.
Okay. Even although you know that it wasn't a mistake on your part.
Yes.
Okay. And Sasha, how did you feel? And forgive me if we already talked about that, but just explain to us again how that made you feel to be called a gangster.
I was frustrated because he's an adult and I'm a child, and if I wanted to say something, I could get in trouble for just trying to stand up for or explain why I'm not, or explain myself. So I felt like he shouldn't have said that, and I guess I could have done more to explain why I felt that way to him.
Okay. Okay. Well, how do you think you guys can overcome things like that? What are some of the best practices that you could put in place, perhaps, out of those experiences?
One of the things that I do when I go to school is I'm just quiet for the whole day unless I have to ask an important question about homework, or if I have to talk to a partner about a project, because I know if I decide to talk out loud in my school or like speak about something else, that I could possibly get in trouble.
Okay. So, Johnny, you talked to us about your paper, equity over equality. When we talk about race as we are right now, was that a factor or a part of your thought processes in when you were approaching the subject?
Yes, because the backstory to that whole paper was last year I took the PSSAs and I had my sticker on the paper, but they tried to accuse me of cheating. And then they harassed me like for 3 weeks straight, bringing me back down. Did you cheat, trying to break me. And I know I didn't cheat, so I wasn't gonna let them break me. And the principal, and like what we just went off of, the principal, one of his questions was, do you feel like they're treating you this type of way because you're skin color, because of you? And I'm just thinking to myself in the chair, like, this man has to be crazy. Cause like, no, if it was any of the white kids at my school, they would have not been brought down. It would have been like it never happened. And then that's when I went to Miss Sherry, and we sat down for hours and wrote the paper. But it's like even like a little while back, we had a math test. I asked her, all the other white students and stuff, they were able to come in. They were able to come in and study with her. I asked her if I could come in early. I emailed her. She never replied back. And it's like it be in my head. It's like I gotta do whatever I can to be her. So like she can't bring me down no matter what.